This book is meant to help readers understand their power and purpose and guide them towards their why and potential. Eric Thomas wrote it to provide a blueprint he wished he had earlier in life. E.T.'s message started spreading through work with kids who were early adopters of his YouTube videos. He connects with diverse audiences through a simple yet deep message about taking ownership of one's life. While informed by other works, E.T. aims to deliver the message in a straightforward, accessible way for people of all backgrounds and education levels. The core message is that the individual is the only one who can change their own life by claiming their value, purpose, and power, regardless of circumstances. E.T. has struggled with feeling like a victim before, but now encourages writing your own narrative. While E.T.'s work is rooted in the black male experience, the message is universal in empowering all people to attain their potential and the American dream through hard work and commitment to themselves. The passage describes the speaker's journey from homelessness and difficult circumstances to success. As a child, the speaker grew up in Detroit in the 1970s without many expectations for his future. He faced challenges like becoming homeless and making poor decisions that led to further hardship. At his lowest point, the speaker took on a victim mentality and blamed others for his situation. However, he eventually realized he was responsible for his choices and stopped denying his role in creating his circumstances. This allowed him to see how he could change his situation and become successful. The speaker emphasizes that true success comes from within, recognizing one's power and purpose, knowing oneself deeply, and finding motivation and reasons to improve. It requires striving toward potential through hard work and being willing to sacrifice good things for greater opportunities. Despite facing difficulties early in life, the speaker went on to achieve significant success through decades of effort, developing his skills in public speaking, pastoral work, coaching, teaching, and counseling. He has become a successful speaker, pastor, and mentor by doing deep personal work and continually growing toward excellence throughout his life journey. The author grew up in Detroit in the 1970s, 1980s, when the city was thriving culturally and economically. He found out from his birth certificate that the man who raised him was not his biological father. This was devastating and caused him to feel angry, distrustful, and like he had been lied to by his whole family. After an argument with his parents about him throwing a party while they were away, he stormed out of the house for good at age 16, with just the clothes on his back. He began sleeping outside, wandering the streets, and struggling to find food and shelter. Detroit was becoming more dangerous at this time as gangs rose. Leaving home caused the author to feel adrift and that he had nowhere else to go. It was an act of anger and resentment towards his family after feeling betrayed by the truth about his father. The author left home as a teenager and experienced homelessness, having to sleep on the streets, in shelters, or in his car. He survived by working a graveyard shift at McDonald's while still attending school. Initially, the author didn't see himself as homeless and blamed his mother and stepfather for his situation. He fell into a depression and dark mindset from the isolation and lack of control over his circumstances. However, the author came to realize that leaving home was his own choice, and by blaming others, he was making himself a victim. His mother continued to support him, despite her disapproval of his decision. The author shares how taking responsibility for one's life and adopting a victor mindset, rather than a victim mindset, is key to overcoming hardships. He cites examples of his strong-willed mother and friend who succeeded despite challenges through resilience and work ethic, rather than seeing themselves as victims. Everybody knew Inky Johnson, and he was expected to have a career in the NFL. He thought he could buy a house for his mom and set his family up financially. In his sophomore year of college football, Inky made a hard tackle against Air Force and had to be carried off the field. He suffered internal bleeding and almost died. After surgery, he lost all use of his right arm. This ended Inky's dreams of playing pro football. But unlike how the author used to view challenges, Inky did not see himself as a victim. He finished his studies and got a master's degree in sports psychology. He became a motivational speaker. Inky is an example of overcoming challenges by not having a victim mentality. His body failed him, but he found another path instead of feeling hopeless. The author says we should emulate Inky by taking responsibility, owning our choices, setting standards, and making no excuses. Only then can we overcome obstacles and move forward toward our goals. When Bob's mother struggled with her own recovery, his grandfather took Bob and his brothers in. They lived in Gramps' crowded basement on 7 Mile, which had a different environment than Bob's own neighborhood on 8 Mile. Bob and his friend attended a small Seventh-day Adventist church called Detroit Center. It became a new home and support system for Bob. The congregation was run by the commanding Pastor Willis and his musical family. Bob felt spiritual from a young age and found connection through prayer and scripture. At Detroit Center, he felt embraced and part of a community. Though homeless was difficult, Bob also felt freedom and independence. He found fulfillment in choosing Detroit Center as his new family and place to invest his gifts. Bob met his future wife, Deed, at the church. She supported him despite his homelessness, showing him kindness and helping him see what he needed. Her care helped Bob see a path forward. Deedee saw the real Eric Thomas beneath his energetic, extroverted persona and provided compassionate support that helped him connect despite having retreated inward after a difficult past. Introverts can be highly intellectual communicators if they practice conversations beforehand and communicate their need for clear, transparent support from others. Extroverts rely more on natural confidence, but introverts think more deeply. Some athletes resent absent fathers, but often fathers were working to support their families and activities. Focusing on lack of support leads to victim mentality rather than acknowledging help received. To combat victim thinking, look at evidence of support received rather than invalid feelings alone. Many succeed due to coaches, parents, and others who nurtured them despite personal choices. As success grows, discern genuine supporters from fair-weather friends. Evaluate relationships based on mutual nurturing rather than surface admiration of fame, money. Even for Eric, an extrovert healer, an unresolved painful past shapes an inward persona suspicious of exclusion. He must acknowledge this to maintain supportive relationships through reason over feelings. The person is aware of an ugly part of their personality where they feel broken and like a victim. However, through self-awareness, they are able to see past this and not let it negatively impact current relationships. When they felt left out by CJ meeting with others without them, they recognized their victim mentality showing up and chose to communicate with CJ to understand rather than turn away. CJ explained they were working on business plans to support the company and the person's financial future. Self-awareness of strengths and weaknesses allows one to surround themselves with people good at what they are not. It also facilitates effective communication and understanding when issues arise. Bringing your full self to relationships, including exposing weaknesses, allows others to fully support you. Only then can you be supported to achieve your highest potential. Tools like the flight assessment help increase self-awareness of behavioral styles and how one operates, enabling better teamwork and support between individuals. Applying this framework to a basketball team helped coaches better understand and support each player to maximize their contributions to the team. Recognition and tailored support allowed the team to reach new heights. Here are the key points. When the author was young, he discovered his ability to connect with others and bring people together at Bible camp. This was the first time he tapped into his superpower. However, when he was younger and didn't fully understand or channel his gift, it manifested in negative ways, like seeking attention through disruptive behavior in school. He knew the consequences but couldn't help himself. An unchanneled gift or superpower leads to chaos, dysfunction, and damage to relationships and opportunities. It's like having superpowers but not knowing how to use them productively. The author ran away from home at a young age without considering the implications, showing his impulsiveness when he didn't properly channel his abilities. To truly harness one's gift or superpower, one has to understand it, learn how to channel it constructively, and avoid letting it manifest in harmful or wasteful ways like it did for the author when he was younger. Finding one's purpose is key. The main message is that innate talents or abilities need to be consciously developed and directed towards positive ends to be truly empowering, rather than leaving one undisciplined and prone to self-sabotage when unrestrained. Understanding oneself is an important part of personal growth and responsibility. The author attended several different schools as a child, ranging from Catholic school to experimental charter schools, and was ultimately kicked out of high school multiple times for behavioral issues. They struggled academically and had trouble focusing in class. Looking back, the author now realizes they likely had dyslexia and ADHD, but it was not diagnosed at the time. The author found connection and validation through public speaking, starting by regularly volunteering to read and lead prayers at their church, Detroit Center. They were invited to give a sermon, which they greatly enjoyed and received positive feedback on. Speaking became an outlet and way to channel their energy. The author believes they have a natural superpower for speaking and communicating that has served as their purpose and passion in life. They see speaking as a spiritual experience where another part of them takes over. The summary focuses on the author's academic struggles, discovery of public speaking as a strength, and view of speaking as activating their innate superpower or gift. The passage discusses the importance of discovering one's unique strengths or superpowers. It argues that everyone is naturally good at something, but this isn't always identified or developed. The author notes how he was always drawn to listening to speakers and wanting to help others. Over time, he realized his talent was in public speaking and motivational speaking. The story of rapper Toby Nwigwe is shared, who discovered his talent for music later in life after starting a nonprofit. The author emphasizes how trying different things is important to discover one's gifts. Developing a superpower requires awareness of one's natural inclinations, focusing on what energizes you, and dedicating time and effort to improving those skills. External influences can sometimes distract from internal talents. The author reflects on how he let others discourage him from pursuing the violin as a child, instead of listening to his own passion. He argues it's important to tune out distractions and focus on one's own intuition to discover and nurture unique strengths. The passage encourages pursuing one's unique talents and interests rather than conforming to what is popular. It argues that true leaders and heroes are those who forge their own path instead of following trends. The author reflects on how, as a child, sports were seen as most masculine and aspiring to professional sports careers was common, while pursuits like violin were less valued. However, history remembers innovators who didn't conform to popular views. The author grew up assuming their talent was in sports like running, but it took discovering opportunities in public speaking to realize that was their true gift. External validation can be misleading. It's important to be inwardly tuned into one's natural abilities. Fully developing a talent requires falling in love with it through dedicated practice. Natural abilities alone aren't enough. One must work obsessively to achieve excellence, as many famous artists and athletes demonstrate. The author found success only by getting intensely focused on honing their speaking talent. In summary, the passage encourages focusing inward to uncover one's unique gifts, pursuing those passions even if unpopular, and obsessively developing skills through practice to reach one's full potential. Conformity gets in the way of innovation, and history remembers those who forge new paths. The passage describes how the author's wife, Dee Dee, helped him turn his life around when they were teenagers in Detroit. She challenged him to get his GED and go to college with her in Alabama. This lit a fire under the author and motivated him to study for his GED, which he passed. He then attended Oakwood College in Alabama with Dee Dee. After a year at Oakwood, the author eloped with Dee Dee at age 19 to officially commit to being together. Their parents were not happy about the rushed marriage. At Oakwood, the author struggled academically at first, having never been focused on school before. He risked probation. He got involved in Oakwood's GED outreach program, teaching others in nearby housing projects. This helped him rediscover his passion for education and helping struggling students. The author's motivation has always been to make Dee Dee happy and not lose her, as she helped turn his life around from being a high school dropout with no direction. Here are the key points I gathered. The teacher would bring motivational books like Think and Grow Rich and Daily Motivations to share excerpts and get students to think critically about how the ideas apply to them. Class time would be split between instruction and discussing the importance of school and having the right mindset for learning. Music would be played to get students pumped up for work and concentrate, with breaks every 30 minutes for movement. Students would do visualization exercises to help stay focused on tests and imagine the impact of their results. The teacher aimed to challenge students to think about their futures and reasons for progressing in school. The overall goal was to help students understand the value of learning and see that further education can lead to good career opportunities, in contrast to stereotypes about lack of education limiting one's future. Focusing on motivation and mindset, in addition to instruction, was aimed at helping disconnected students reconnect with the purpose of their education. Here are the key points from the passage. Many young athletes focus primarily on extrinsic rewards like money, fame, and material things when pursuing a professional sports career. This type of extrinsic motivation is less sustainable than intrinsic motivation. Sports careers are short, usually ending in one's late 30s at the latest due to the physical demands. Athletes need goals and purpose beyond their playing career. The author talks to NBA rookies each year and encourages them to think beyond just their current career to the legacy they could leave through philanthropic work or social activism. Examples given include Chris Paul and Demario Davis. Finding an intrinsic why, like honoring a coach or supporting a cause, can make athletes even more driven and impactful both on and off the field. Kevin Durant wears 35 to honor his late coach. The author found his own why of supporting family through working during a period of homelessness. Having a sense of purpose beyond tangible rewards is important. Discovering one's true why may involve introspection and coming to terms with painful truths, but ultimately reconnecting with one's inner values and drive is what leads to fulfilling long-term purpose and impact. The passage discusses finding one's deeper motivations and sense of purpose. It encourages reflecting on intrinsic desires like dreams, legacy, and relationships, rather than just extrinsic things wanted. Thinking about why those intrinsic things are wanted can help uncover a person's core why. It also talks about the importance of acting on this self-awareness by applying gifts and skills to help others. Finding purpose involves both understanding oneself and moving into action. Living this way allows one to reach their fullest potential. The anecdote describes how the author began to discover his gift for public speaking in college. He and some friends formed a ministry called Bell Tower to share knowledge and experiences. Standing up to speak at Bell Tower was empowering and helped the author transition into confidently walking his path of purpose. Becoming self-aware was the first step, but taking action and walking in that awareness allowed his gifts to flourish. The person heard about the Ku Klux Klan murdering their father for his skin color when they were young, which was shocking to learn could happen in America. Their mother struggled with mental illness, and the person was separated from their siblings. In college, they were fascinated by Malcolm X's autobiography. Malcolm X had lived in Detroit and been assassinated recently. Reading about Malcolm X and Black history with family and the community made them feel connected to their culture and purpose. They realized through Malcolm X that having a relationship with a white woman could be dangerous as a Black person. This impacted a friendship. Their father gave them Malcolm X's book to help them understand the world and find their path with intention, like they did in college. At an HBCU college called Oakwood, they found direction and structure through a spiritual group called Bell Tower, which helped them understand their voice and purpose in empowering others. The author studied at Bell Tower from 1989 to 1998 while working at Olive Garden to pay bills, though they were not pursuing a degree. They saw this time as discovering their purpose through participating in the world and meeting supportive people. A purpose is about using your gifts to help others without expecting anything in return. For the author, Bell Tower was about spreading a message and finding connection, not making money. Teaching has always been about empowering others, not building a career. The author's gifts include motivational speaking and teaching, which they give away freely through videos, social media, and speaking at schools and community centers. Giving gifts away in this way keeps them focused on their purpose and builds relationships. In 2012, the author's wife, Didi, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. This crisis deepened the author's understanding of their purpose to support Didi. They had to work harder to balance caregiving and their career. Facing hardship can push people to a new level and clarity of purpose. Caring for Didi led the author to discover they had more to give. Difficult times can make people stronger and evolve their purpose. Comfort can pull us back from progress, while crises nourish growth. The author views challenges as opportunities to fight more for their goals. Here are the key points summarized. The person uses their gifts and talents to help others through speaking engagements, workshops, and mentoring students. They seem to have found their purpose and career path in this work. Their story demonstrates how consistently using one's gifts through intention and preparation can lead to opportunities and miracles, like being discovered by people who want to bring them on board at Michigan State University. It is implied they want to keep growing their impact and integrating their gifts into their career path. Finishing their own education was part of that. No direct mention is made of having formal structure around hobbies or interests outside of work, but the story shows a history and passion for public speaking, teaching, and mentoring youth. The challenges posed ask the reader to reflect on their own gifts and talents, how they use them currently, potential to amplify their impact, and aligning their work with their values and purpose. While no direct answers are given, the anecdote provides an inspiring example of someone who carefully cultivated opportunities through consistent application of their skills. The author felt like he had reached his potential in Huntsville and wanted a new challenge in East Lansing, near Michigan State University. However, his wife Dee did not want to uproot their family without a solid plan. They moved anyway in 2003 with 2 young children. It was a rocky transition as they lived in temporary housing on campus for a month with no privacy or yard for the kids. Didi was upset with the author and did not speak to him for months. Eventually, they got an apartment, but it was old and run down. Didi struggled emotionally, but eventually found a job and community in East Lansing. Though it was difficult at first, the move ended up working out well. The author got his master's and PhD from MSU, and their lives changed dramatically. The risky move ended up being the launch pad for future opportunities and miracles. Putting yourself in miracle territory by actively using your gifts can lead to new possibilities, even if it does not provide immediate benefits. Building intangible value through service can attract opportunities over time. Receiving miracles requires active effort, not just passive waiting. The passage discourages viewing winning the lottery or gambling as reliable paths to financial security. These are essentially 1 in a million chances that one has little control over. Instead, it advocates developing and using one's gifts and skills through work. The author provides his own example of how he proactively sought out speaking opportunities to build his influence, rather than passively waiting for things to come to him. A pivotal chance encounter occurred when the author chose to still speak at a school event even after his original commitment fell through. This led him to meet CJ, his future business partner, who helped take his work to the next level. The passage presents miracles as occurring through actively using one's gifts each day, rather than relying on long shots like the lottery. Working consistently in one's purpose can open up unexpected opportunities. The author and CJ founded a mentorship program at MSU that grew widely popular. This exposure online led to the viral success of the Secret to Success video, a pivotal career moment the author could not have foreseen at the time. Overall, it advocates consistently exercising one's skills to place oneself in miracle territory for unforeseen blessings. The speaker was asked to record one of his regular talks to high school kids who were at a pivotal moment in their lives, deciding their future. This particular talk happened to be filmed, but the speaker says it was no different than his countless other talks over 12 years. In this talk, he shared a story about a personal experience with a guru that resonated deeply with the kids. Unbeknownst to the speaker, this filmed talk would go viral after being shared online years later. It helped catapult his public speaking career to new heights and reach massive global audiences. The speaker says being open to experimentation and trying new things is what puts one in a position for miracles to happen. For him, experimenting with social media early on allowed an unlikely viral moment with that talk. He encourages others to get comfortable with discomfort by putting themselves in new situations to allow growth and new opportunities. With enough practice and persistence over time preparing for one's moment, unexpected successes can emerge. The passage discusses how to put yourself in a position to receive miracles or opportunities. It says miracles will come when you are being your most authentic self and pursuing your purpose. It recommends spending time with people who have experienced miracles to learn from them. It emphasizes the importance of preparation, practicing your skills daily, and putting yourself around opportunities. Athletes visualize success to mentally prepare. The author shares examples of how he visualized academic success and home ownership before achieving them. To receive opportunities, you must be ready for them. Envision receiving the opportunity and what it will look and feel like. Act as if it is imminent. Having this mental preparation will allow you to seize opportunities when they arise. The author discusses how he strategically positioned himself to meet influential people in his field early in his career by attending conferences. He later visualized himself doing corporate speaking and took steps like creating a motivational video series to position himself for those opportunities when they came. Preparation and visualization are keys to miracles. The author began seriously investing in his education later in life by passing the GED exam at age 27, which gave him a sense of control over his future. He pursued a 4-year degree at Oakwood University, taking 12 years to complete while working full-time. After graduating, he continued his education, eventually earning a PhD and becoming Dr. Eric Thomas. Education provides opportunities, but it must be balanced with the ability to clearly express oneself and excellence in one's field. Examples are given of highly educated and accomplished figures like MLK Jr., Thurgood Marshall, and Toni Morrison, who combined education, expression, and excellence. For many communities and minorities historically, education was restricted or deprioritized, so its value is not always apparent. Physical labor was more common. The author urges pursuing an education to avoid repeating the struggles of past generations and having more choice over one's life path. His own experience attending a large, predominantly white university after a black education was very culturally shocking, but emphasized the importance of finding allies and support. The passage discusses some of the challenges that non-traditional students face when attending predominantly white universities coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. These students may have only learned from black and female teachers and are not familiar with interacting with white male professors. They may be unfamiliar with concepts like syllabi and researching papers. When the author was an academic advisor at Michigan State University, he saw himself in these disadvantaged students. He wanted to help them navigate the university successfully, like he wished he had guidance when he struggled in college earlier. However, he was shocked to discover graduation rates were very low, around 30 to 50% depending on gender. And the university could actually predict which students would fail based on factors like high school, race, socioeconomic background, etc. This led the author to create a counseling program to provide support to these at-risk students and change the system. He demonstrated to the university that keeping these students enrolled could save tens of thousands per student annually, and in turn millions of dollars total by improving graduation rates. The goal was not only financial, but to help create more successful students and alumni. The passage also discusses how falling in love with learning through books, like Gifted Hands, was transformative for the author in embracing his own education. The author talks about how taking sociology and educational system classes helped him better understand his gift of public speaking and how to communicate effectively to different types of people. Learning theories and systems refined his skills. When he embraced education, it opened his eyes to opportunities he didn't know existed before. His world expanded greatly from a high school dropout to attending Oakwood University. Continuing his education paved the way for greater career opportunities. Education is a way to develop one's gifts and purpose through refining skills. Even highly talented athletes need education to sharpen both physical and mental abilities to perform at the highest level. Education provides options for life after sports. Knowledge equips one with control over their life and career trajectory. It isn't necessary to pursue advanced degrees, but educating oneself on relevant topics and systems through various means gives power and flexibility. Education in some form is key to maximizing one's innate gifts and succeeding in their chosen field or purpose. Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest boxers of all time, known as the greatest. He had dyslexia and did not attend college. Despite his educational limitations, Ali educated himself on important issues like Islam, black empowerment, and how to challenge systems of oppression. He studied with influential figures like Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad. When drafted into the military, Ali understood the political system well enough to take a principled stand against it and emerge victorious. This showed that formal education is not necessary to gain knowledge and power. Even without traditional schooling, knowledge is widely accessible today through libraries, audiobooks, online content, and speaking with experts. One can self-educate on any topic by being curious and asking questions. Expression and communication of one's knowledge is also important for empowerment. Ali refined his public speaking skills over time. Code switching to different audiences expands one's reach and impact. While maintaining one's roots, learning new linguistic and cultural codes allows one to navigate more worlds. Overall, the key ideas are that knowledge can be attained through self-directed learning, regardless of formal education. An effective expression of that knowledge through various channels is empowering. Ali exemplified this path to becoming the greatest. Here is a summary of the key points about code switching from the passage. Code switching refers to adapting one's use of language, vocabulary, pronunciation, and speech patterns based on the social context. It allows people to communicate effectively with different audiences. MLK Jr. was highly educated, but knew he would need to code switch to appeal to and influence white audiences on behalf of the black community. His mastery of language gave him greater influence. The author notes that they sometimes code switch in their job to reach different audiences and create opportunities for their community, as advocated by W.E.B. Du Bois. The passage discusses learning the language of corporations by observing a mentor and adapting messages and style to gain opportunities in the corporate world. It emphasizes the importance of staying true to one's roots and personal expression while code switching to new audiences or fields. Successful people fuse new languages with their original mode of expression. Code switching is a natural part of how everyone communicates differently, depending on context, relationships, and surroundings. It allows for expressing oneself effectively in different situations. Excellence is the clearest expression and translation of one's education and knowledge. It comes from conveying what you know in the most effective way. Being excellent leads to greater opportunities that wouldn't otherwise be available. A story is provided of a man named Jay who worked hard at his Best Buy job and impressed an executive, leading to a better job opportunity. Working at excellence allows you to rise above mediocrity and gain new perspectives and freedoms. It also means taking responsibility for your own success. For oppressed groups who face disadvantages, excellence requires working harder than others to overcome circumstances with fewer resources. One must be better than average to succeed. The first step to excellence is desiring it. Excellent people see their own potential for greatness. Next is identifying an area to excel in, related to one's strengths and purpose. Excellence should be pursued in all aspects of life. Become obsessed with your goal and constantly improve, like elite athletes do, by studying techniques. Create a self-evaluation system to benchmark skill level, attitude, and effort. Evaluate progress over time. Maintain consciousness that excellence is an internal drive, not about external rewards or competing with others. It comes from a strong why or purpose. Constantly raise the bar of performance through lifelong learning and adjustment. Excellence is a continuous journey of improvement. Here are some key insights from the passage. Good things can hold you back from greatness if you become complacent and stop growing or challenging yourself. Staying in your comfort zone and doing the same things repeatedly will cause stagnation. Getting pushed out of your comfort zone through an involuntary change, like being traded in sports, can be an opportunity to grow rather than a setback. It sparks motivation to prove doubters wrong and reach a new level. Truly elite people always find ways to raise their game and take their skills, talents to the next level, even when they're at the top of their game. They remain hungry for improvement and growth. Embracing discomfort and challenges is necessary for progress. The unfamiliar is where growth happens, so seeking out new experiences and learning constantly expands your capabilities. Fear of the unknown can hold you back, but you have to be willing to sacrifice comfort and familiarity to achieve greatness. Don't let fear of failure or change stop you from pursuing what you want. The key message is that staying stuck in what's safe, familiar, and good will prevent reaching your full potential. Pushing boundaries, constantly learning, and being willing to face discomfort and involuntary change are necessary to progress from good to truly great. Complacency is the enemy of excellence. Here are the key points. Leaving one's comfort zone can produce growth and improvement, even if it causes discomfort at first. Discomfort builds strength, knowledge, and character. Just as tea needs hot water to bring out its flavor, people need to be challenged and pushed outside their comfort zone in order to achieve greatness. Staying comfortably in one place prevents growth. Fear of leaving the comfort zone sometimes stems from a desire for stability and providing for one's family, loved ones. This type of fear can be a positive motivator to keep excelling and expanding one's skills, abilities. When the vision and goals of an organization change and no longer align with one's own vision, it may be best to leave in order to fully pursue greatness without distractions or compromise. Achieving greatness requires effort and persistence, even when things are going well initially. Maintaining greatness in the face of resistance from traditionalists or changing circumstances takes continued hard work. The passage discusses going through a difficult time where the author was thriving but also restricted, like the biblical figure Joseph, who found leadership in prison. The author focuses on leaving his role as a church pastor after experiencing controversy. He symbolically left his shoes at the church to signify ending that commitment. Many church members walked out with him in support. He was later blacklisted from speaking at Adventist events, but saw it as an opportunity for growth. He and his wife Dee started their own ministry called A Place of Change to serve the community without traditional restrictions. It has now grown substantially. Leaving a good situation for greater opportunities often requires emotional hardship and sacrifice. The author didn't realize at the time he was moving from good to great. One must accept difficulties, decide to emerge stronger from challenges, and develop determination and obsession to achieve greatness beyond mere goodness. Trades require leaving comfort and stability. Facing controversies pushed the author to start his own innovative ministry that has positively impacted many more people than his prior role. The passage contrasts good and great in one's life, encouraging reflection on what is just good versus what could be great with improvement. It prompts imagining and planning steps to move something from good to great. It discusses starting a business or career path without clear guides or examples to follow. It emphasizes beginning with what you have available through natural skills and abilities, instincts, and passion for service. The author reflects on initially not realizing their voice and abilities represented a business opportunity. Over time, and with help from others, they came to run their motivational speaking career more strategically, but still through experimentation and learning as they went. Their approach emphasized stating clear intentions for how they saw themselves and worked scrappy with limited resources at first, taking opportunities as they arose and solving problems creatively on the fly through collaboration. Starting small with what's available and taking steps forward is advised over waiting for perfection. The author's company used experimentation and trial and error to grow their business early on, like posting motivational video clips on YouTube to see what resonated. One early video that promoted the author as a business guru became extremely popular and provided a blueprint for future content strategies. The author began working closely with businessman Dan Gilbert, who opened his eyes to the world of real business operations through opportunities like sitting in on meetings and learning the terminology and culture. This experience helped the author understand the need to develop strategic plans, put together a proper team, and study other speakers' business models to generate sustainable revenue rather than just posting free content. Through education in how businesses function, experimenting with different platforms and content, and bringing on professional help, the author and his team were able to transition from opportunistic preaching to running a legitimate operation. The passage discusses how people should properly value their worth in their industry or field. It talks about the author's own experience learning about valuing himself properly as a speaker. Initially, the author would accept whatever rate companies offered him, just grateful for the opportunity. However, after speaking with self-help author Bob Proctor, the author learned to value himself higher. Proctor advised charging a minimum of $20,000 per speaking engagement. When the author did this, he found companies were willing to pay it. The author realized his worth was built on his unique life experiences and ability to connect with audiences in a way others couldn't. Over time, he continued reevaluating his skills and worth against market rates to ensure he was compensating himself appropriately. While money isn't everything, properly valuing one's skills and experience is important so others also value you accordingly. The author stresses the importance of having confidence in your worth to attract opportunities matching that worth. Constant self-improvement also helps increase value over time. The passage discusses the importance of maintaining perspective and focusing on your purpose when you experience success and wealth. Money and fame can be distracting and create an illusion of fulfillment if you don't know yourself. It emphasizes continuing self-development and moving up Maslow's hierarchy of needs towards self-actualization, not just achieving financial stability. Many athletes focus only on making it to their league without planning for life afterwards. It gives the example of Jamal King, who became a successful millionaire real estate investor while working as a police officer after his NFL dreams were cut short by injury. He found purpose in giving back to his community. Even superstar athletes need to stay grounded in their purpose beyond their sport. Living according to your values and why is important for sustained success. The author recalls a pivotal meeting with Les Brown, a legendary motivational speaker, who encouraged him to value his uniqueness, charge what he's worth, and embrace being a role model that could inspire many. This experience felt like receiving the torch from a mentor. The passage describes how the author embraced being an outsider in the motivational speaking industry in order to distinguish himself and fill a niche. When he started, most prominent motivational speakers were white males talking to corporate audiences. However, the author saw an opportunity to speak to Black and urban communities that were being ignored. He drew inspiration from the rise of hip-hop and Black television shows that were telling stories beyond the white experience. When he spoke to Les Brown, Brown validated the author's work and difference, giving him confidence to pursue his vision. The author realized his difference is what made him valuable. He could reach audiences others couldn't. While it was scary to acknowledge being different, the author asserts one must look inward, embrace their uniqueness, and stand up for their worth despite fears of not fitting in or being accepted. Being true to oneself, even if it means turning down lucrative opportunities requiring conformity, is important so one can be their most authentic and powerful self. The speaker grew up influenced by hip-hop culture in the 80s and 90s, taking fashion and language cues from artists like LL Cool J, Run DMC, Queen Latifah, Salt-N-Pepa, and Lauryn Hill. They saw that existing motivational speakers used overly academic language, so they made their presentations more like a hip-hop experience, borrowing styles from various rappers and blending it with lessons from MLK and Malcolm X. This made them stand out as the hip-hop preacher. Their following started in the Black community, but expanded as hip-hop became more mainstream. White audiences also grew to follow them. They view themselves as a perpetual underdog and outsider, fueling their hunger to keep improving and moving forward. Outsiders have advantages, like a fresh perspective and constant motivation. They were initially passive about business aspects, but learned they needed to embrace being a business person to support greater philanthropy and provide for their family's future. Refocusing on their why helped business feel less like a vice and more like security and legacy building. The passage discusses shifting one's mindset from thinking of oneself only as a minister-giver to also thinking of oneself as a business person who creates products and services that solve problems and meet needs. Realizing people valued his content and wisdom, the author began selling this through talks, coaching programs, books, etc. This allowed him to grow his impact and vision. Many who grew up working class don't see themselves as potential business owners, but one can organize their gifts, ideas, and philosophies into a business that serves others. To start, identify your gifts and how they could benefit others. Consider your industry and product ideas. Research mentors who inspire you. Network and leverage relationships to learn, just as others once approached you for help. Organize your offerings into different arms or products of a business. View yourself holistically as a business person, not just a speaker or worker. So in summary, the passage advocates shifting one's mindset from solely giving gifts away to establishing a business that sells products based on one's gifts, skills, and philosophies in order to maximize positive impact and sustainability. The passages discuss the importance of holding fast to your core values and sacred beliefs. It emphasizes creating a personal blueprint that captures who you are at your core, informed by your experiences and personality. It stresses the importance of self-reflection to understand your strengths and how to apply them effectively. Knowing your personality type can help you see why you act a certain way and how to communicate better with others. While external factors like relationships and demands pull you in many directions, you must prioritize your own growth, fulfillment, and dreams. Pursuing your purpose requires focus, desire, and making yourself a top priority. This involves spending quality time alone to reflect, center yourself each day, and visualize your goals and plans. Only then can you truly care for others from a place of strength, clarity, and actualized potential. Staying true to yourself, even when it's difficult, is part of personal growth and change. In summary, the passages discuss the value of self-reflection, creating a blueprint for your core self, prioritizing your own growth and dreams, and making time alone to stay centered and focused on achieving your goals and purpose. Knowing yourself allows you to apply your strengths effectively. The passage advocates for taking control of your life and attaining self-knowledge and standards. It discusses setting goals, but emphasizes having high standards to reach the next level. Self-evaluation is important to assess if one's time is being used as intended each day. Opportunities will come, but not all align with one's standards for how their time should be spent, like prioritizing family and community over other obligations. It also touches on the importance of legacy, how each generation should build upon what the last provided to further opportunity for the next. Establishing standards can help create a legacy beyond just financial stability. Now is the time to start building one's legacy by committing to self and standards, taking control, doing the work, and dreaming of greatness to ultimately become one's dream. The key is setting the standard for one's generation,